Hello, everybody. We are going to get started. It is great to see a group of interested people, a lot of whom have been in a few other meetings we have, most of whom have not. So if you've not been in any of our information sessions or other meetings about this project so far, welcome. This is officially our kickoff webinar for this project to share with interested individuals, artists, organizations who might want to bring their art performance or program to Marcus Garvey Park over the next 2 summers as part of our Culture, Creativity, and Care initiative. During this, everybody will stay muted. However, if you have a question, you're welcome to use the Q&A to put it in. There are a few times throughout the webinar that I'll be looking into the Q&A to see if there are any relevant questions to answer. I'll also be leaving time at the end. I do not expect to take a whole hour just to present the options for how to get involved. So we should have a decent amount of time for Q&A, and any questions that I am not able to answer on this webinar, we will post online along with a recording of much of this webinar that'll be publicly available for people who weren't able to attend today, but would like to be involved in the project. So that was our welcome. I'm going to give you a little bit more information about Harlem Grown and the Mellon Foundation, who is the funder of this project. A little framing specifically around the Culture, Creativity, and Care initiative, what we hope to achieve, and what we hope to fund and attract to Marcus Garvey Park. We are going to go into some details on funding opportunities. We have 2 open calls for programming and art for summer 2023, which is fast approaching. And we also have opened up a request for proposals for projects for 2024, whether they are visual art, performing art, or programming related. And then we will have a brief closing with time specifically for people to be able to ask any questions that weren't answered as part of the presentation. So with that, let's get started. So my name is Charles Marr. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Harlem Grown. Our mission is to inspire youth to lead healthy and ambitious lives through mentorship and hands-on education in urban farming, sustainability, and nutrition. We are at our heart both a child development and a food justice organization. And through our programming, we are not just teaching kids about, healthy food, what goes into your body, and how that creates physical wellness. We also try to grow ingredients and teach recipes that are reflective of the children that we serve and their backgrounds. We honor the histories and cultural significance of those ingredients and recipes that we're teaching that our children recognize. And we're also teaching them about the importance of the historical and indigenous food systems that created those ingredients and recipes that we can learn from as we try to build a sustainable future. And our funding partner on this project is the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation. They are a massive supporter of arts and humanities. They believe that humanities and arts are essential to human understanding and human connection. And their project specifically that's funding this is called Humanities in Place, which tries to amplify stories, cultures, and histories in a specific location. And so for this project, the location is Marcus Garvey Park, and the cultures, histories, and stories that we are trying to amplify and celebrate are those of the various Harlem communities. Now, related to that initiative, this specific project, we are going to be centering in Marcus Garvey Park. We are going to be focusing on community care and wellness, both with Harlem Grown's food-based programming, but also with cultural, visual arts, and performing arts programming, all as explorations of community care and both physical and mental wellness. Now, there's lots of ways for other organizations to get involved. Harlem Grown will be bringing our own food programming, and we'll also be partnering with other events and organizations to bring our food programming to other events and build collaborations. However, we also have direct funding opportunities for artists, performers, and organizations, and I've broken them up here by year. So in our first year, summer 2023, we have 2 open calls. We're calling these open calls and not RFPs because we're really asking for finished, polished work. We're not commissioning anything new because of our timeline. This is sort of an exploration year where we're trying to attract and amplify what's already here, show people what's possible, and spark some ideas for projects to go into our request for proposals for 2024. In the next few slides, I'm going to go in a little bit more detail about those open calls and requests for proposals and the associated timelines, who we're looking for, and what that process looks like. But first off, I'll go over very, very briefly what makes somebody eligible. We toyed with the idea of asking if people live in Harlem specifically, but with gentrification and how much movement there is in between the boroughs and the metro area, performers and organizations do not have to be right in Harlem or Marcus Garvey Park, but they should be able to demonstrate a connection to the Harlem communities or to Marcus Garvey Park itself. And we're looking for a broad array of stakeholders. We are looking for individual artists. We're looking for groups of artists, collectives, performing groups. We're looking for organizations who want to put on programming or want funding support for the programming that they're already planning, as well as individuals who would like to put on programming or create art in the park. We're really looking, especially in year 1, for individuals and organizations who have some experience with public engagement and public programming, because funding recipients will be the project managers and leaders of their funded projects. And we are really looking for people who not only have that connection to Harlem, but also share in the initiative themes of community care and wellness. So again, not just traditional physical well-being, also mental health, and that can extend to sort of performing arts and visual arts and cultural programming, storytelling as avenues for increasing community care and wellness. The RFP is really for those 2024 projects, which are projects that we could do, projects that are smaller, similar to what a lot of programs will be this summer, but we can also entertain much larger projects, right? For a large art installation, you really want to submit to parks at least 6 months in advance. So we want to be able to give artists, organizations, and performers the time and funding, like long-term, to be able to really make that happen. So this, as opposed to the cultural and visual art open calls, this is for new stuff. It could be for expansions of other things, but we really want to bring some new ideas. That doesn't necessarily mean all new faces and all new organizations. So if you are already doing great work in the park, that does not exclude you at all. But we are looking for projects that are going to really draw people into the park and give them a really authentic experience. And we will be working very, very closely throughout the year with grantees to be able to make sure that these events are super, super successful and impactful for our community. And doing things like that yes, it takes time, but it also takes funds, right, to do cool stuff. So we are offering full or partial funding. So, say you have an idea that is going to cost $500,000 and you've gotten most of it funded already, we can partially fund projects up to $50,000. We also will fully fund a project. And the amount of funding that you're asking for is not necessarily going to determine whether or not you get funding. Our selection committees are going to be looking at alignment to this project, as well as whether or not it feels like a project is feasible to be accomplished, right? Though we are willing to partially fund projects, we are probably not going to partially fund a project that doesn't have any other funders, but is going to cost $1 million, for example. Now, the timeline for this, we have a lot of opportunity here. Our form online is already open, so people can go to our website, click through, start looking at it. And again, the website is harlemgrown.org/culture-creativity-care. You can also get to it just by going to harlemgrown.org clicking under programs, and then finding culture, creativity, and care. This is our first information session. We've already planned a second information session, and there will likely be more throughout the summer as more people hear about our initiative and start ideating these visual art or activations that take longer both to ideate and to apply for. And then submissions have until October 1st at the very end of the day, 11:59 p.m. to come in to us. So you have many, many months for this, and we really do want fully fleshed out ideas